Before you go any further, stop for a second and think about this. What if the person you trusted the most was quietly shaping the way you think? Not by forcing you, not by threatening you, but by guiding your emotions so subtly that you never even noticed it happening. Have you ever walked away from an argument feeling like somehow everything was your fault, even when deep down you knew something wasn't right? At first, it feels normal, even loving. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never realize. True control doesn't begin with commands. It begins with influence. You believe manipulation is loud and obvious. The truth is, the most powerful manipulation feels like affection. It feels like care. It feels like someone who simply understands you better than anyone else. Centuries ago, the political philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli understood something about power that most people still fail to see today. Control is rarely maintained through force. Force creates resistance. True power works through perception, through shaping how another person interprets reality. And once someone learns to shape your perception, they no longer need to control your actions. You begin doing it for them, willingly. Now understand this carefully, because the next step of control is rarely noticed until it's already working. It begins with praise. In the early stage, the compliments are constant. You're told how special you are, how different you are from everyone else. Your intelligence, your beauty, your uniqueness, all recognized with almost surgical precision. It feels intoxicating. Finally, someone sees you. But slowly, something changes. The praise becomes rare. The warmth that once came so easily now appears in small, carefully timed moments. A compliment here, a moment of approval there, just enough to keep you hoping the old version of them will return. And without realizing it, you begin chasing it. Centuries ago, Machiavelli warned that any man who depends on fortune will collapse the moment that fortune disappears. Controllers understand this principle perfectly, so they reverse it. Instead of depending on fortune themselves, they make someone else depend on them. Approval becomes the new fortune. Your confidence begins to rise or fall based on a single expression from them. A smile gives relief. Silence creates anxiety. Disapproval feels like emotional withdrawal. And the trap tightens quietly, because once your sense of worth depends on their validation, they no longer need to control your behavior. You will start adjusting yourself automatically just to earn the next moment of approval. Once approval becomes the leash, the next step is to quietly reshape the world around you. Not through orders, not through obvious restrictions, but through slow architectural influence. At first, it seems harmless. A small comment about one of your friends, a subtle observation about how someone in your family doesn't really understand you, a quiet suggestion that certain people might not have your best interests at heart. Nothing dramatic, nothing that feels like control, just seeds of doubt. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must remove rival powers that could challenge his influence. Controllers understand this principle perfectly. They don't demand that you abandon people. That would create resistance. Instead, they slowly make those relationships feel uncomfortable, tense, exhausting. You start noticing that every time you spend time with certain friends, friction appears later. Every visit with family seems to cost you emotionally. The weight becomes heavier than the connection itself. So gradually, without realizing it, you begin choosing peace over people. And one by one, the doors around you close until the world becomes smaller, quieter, a world where fewer voices exist to challenge the narrative you hear, a world with only one door left open, and behind that door stands the person who designed the entire structure. You are still here, which means you are ready to understand what comes next, and what comes next is where control becomes invisible. Control deepens when predictability disappears. The controller is warm the one moment, distant the next, attentive and present, then silent and unavailable. You tell yourself it's mood, stress, circumstance, but the truth is far more calculated. Machiavelli observed that rulers maintain power by keeping their subjects uncertain, always calculating, always guessing. Uncertainty creates dependence. Anxiety sharpens attention. Controllers apply this same principle in intimate relationships. The hot and cold is never random. It's a precise lever designed to redirect your energy and emotional focus entirely towards them. Your mind stops considering your own needs. Your attention becomes theirs. And the more you anticipate their next move, the more power shifts into their hands. Reality becomes the next battlefield. They don't just distort events, they reshape what you believe is true. You remember things one way, they insist it happened differently. You trust your instincts, your memory, but slowly doubt creeps in. A phrase here, a subtle contradiction there, a casual denial of what you thought you knew. Machiavelli taught that perception often overweights truth. A ruler who controls how others see the world holds far more power than one who simply enforces facts. Gaslighting isn't chaos, it's a strategy. Every contradiction, every quiet "are you sure?" is a calculated move to shift your internal reality. Your confidence erodes, your trust in your own mind wavers. And when self-trust fades, the controller becomes the sole authority in your inner world. You stop verifying your own experience. You begin seeking confirmation from the very person dismantling it. By the time you notice, they're no longer just part of your life. They're the editor of your reality. Power deepens further when obligation enters the equation. They give, they sacrifice, they go out of their way. At first, it feels like love, but these gestures are never free. They are investments. Machiavelli explained that a shrewd ruler binds others through favors, not as generosity, but as leverage. The same principle applies here. Each gift, each sacrifice is a silent contract. A debt is created, one you never consciously agreed to, but one your mind begins to recognize. And when compliance is needed, the debt is called in, not with anger, not with threats, but with guilt. A raised eyebrow, a pointed silence, a reminder of everything they've done for you. You begin walking carefully, adjusting your behavior to repay invisible loans that never fully disappear. The account never reaches zero. You're always indebted, always bending, always calculating how to restore a balance that was never meant to exist. The final layer of control is mastery over the story itself. When you confront them, expecting accountability, something strange happens. The roles reverse. Suddenly, you're the one apologizing. Suddenly, your pain is evidence of your own failure. The line between aggressor and victim blurs until you're no longer certain who is truly harmed. This is Machiavellian strategy in its purest form, turning defense into offense. A controller studies your words, your reactions, your emotional patterns. Every expression becomes data. Every tear, every frustration, every doubt is cataloged and then weaponized. You begin questioning yourself. Was it really manipulation or just your imagination? Was it a harsh comment or something you provoked? By the time clarity returns, your confidence, your authority over your own story, your sense of moral certainty, everything has been quietly chipped away. When someone controls the narrative, they no longer need to control your actions. They control your reality, your memory, and eventually, your very sense of justice. By now, you see the full pattern. Leaving feels like an impossible puzzle. Every exit seems blocked, not by chains, not by threats, but the life that has been quietly entwined with their design. Your identity, your relationships, your sense of self, all caught inside the web they built.
Machiavelli wrote that a wise prince ensures he is necessary, that removing him would cause chaos. Controllers do the same, but their cage has no visible bars. It is not imposed from outside. It is assembled inside you, brick by brick, doubt by doubt, favor by favor. You helped construct it, thinking you were simply loving, trusting, living freely. And now, freedom feels distant. Every attempt to step away meets an internal resistance, a psychological gravity pulling you back towards compliance. But understanding this trap changes everything. Recognizing the architecture of control gives you a map. Awareness becomes your first tool, strategy becomes your second, and the third, the most powerful, is the choice to reclaim your life on your terms. Stop. Before you move on, understand this one final truth. Leaving is never about escaping them. It's about reclaiming the authority over yourself that was never meant to be surrendered. The cage was built inside you, and only you hold the key to dismantle it. If this pattern felt familiar, if something in this video made you see your own experience more clearly, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because awareness, once given, cannot be taken back.